an active voice inside the parliament and outside the parliament as well. We're excited to have her here at the 4th Vegan Conference. People of the audience, please make a lot of noise and welcome to the stage Shrimati Menaka Gandhi with a big round of applause. Thank you.
Good morning, all of you. I've spent over 4 decades, 5 decades, standing in the corridors of power and outside them, asking for one simple thing, that we extend our circle of compassion beyond the human species. For most of these years, I was told to be realistic. I was told that animals didn't matter, that India had more urgent concerns, that cruelty was tradition and meat was nutritious. And yet, here we are, a room full of people who understand that our choices matter, not just to ourselves, but to every being we share the planet with. So to speak at a gathering like this of people who have chosen not just a diet, but a philosophy, not just a lifestyle, but a deep commitment to compassion is an honor, a privilege, and a responsibility. This gathering isn't just a celebration. It is an indication that the world is changing. And now the responsibility is ours to make sure that this change becomes a structure. This morning, I was discussing it with people in this, and I just thought, it's not just a structure. It is now our responsibility to make this into a religion. Religions stand the test of time. Consumer movements do not. All we need now for our religion, because this is an updated form of Jainism, all we need now for our religion is to find a god and a goddess. So I suggest you work on that, and a couple of miracles, which happen to us every day, as you know. So we're on our way. So let me speak plainly on how this becomes a structure or a religion, starting with the joy of less. I want to talk about the power of less. Less cruelty, less waste, less environmental damage, less noise. And in that less, there is more peace, more clarity, more compassion, and yes, more happiness. Minimalism, like veganism, is not about giving things up. It's about giving things meaning. At first glance, this may seem like separate choices, one about diet, the other one about lifestyle, but minimalism and veganism are branches of the same tree. The average person now produces over 2 kilos of waste a day. We throw away enough food to feed entire nations. We fill our homes, our landfills, and our minds with clutter, and then wonder why we feel anxious, disconnected, and overwhelmed. Every time we refuse to participate in violence, in waste, in overconsumption, we are doing something radical. We are choosing to live without domination. We are saying, I see you. I will not look away. I will not pretend your suffering is necessary for my joy. And what we find astonishingly is that when we refuse to be dominated, our joy deepens. Let us instead build a world where doing the right thing isn't hard or radical. It's just normal. The greatest rebellion is not out loud. It does not shout or demand. It refuses gently. It abstains. It withdraws its permission. That is what we are doing. Every vegan, every minimalist is part of a gentle rebellion, one that does not seek to conquer, but to care. So let us come to what this crowd can and should do. Let's talk about a plan of action. First, we must create pressure coalitions. One voice may not get heard, but 10 becomes a force, especially if you approach people who are in power. We need to stop appealing individually and start demanding collectively. Get 10 NGOs together. Draft a joint letter to the FSSAI asking for the regulation of cruelty labeling, transparency on ingredients, and the funding of plant-based innovation. At the moment, the FSSAI refuses to even give permission for non-cow-based milk to be called milk, whether you spell it MYLK or you spell it TYZ3. They will not give permission. So we could start there. Secondly, there is no such thing as A2, A1 milk. It is an invention, a marketing invention, started by a New Zealand dairy person to sell his product. Just look at the akal of this. Supposedly, I'm going to deviate for a bit. Supposedly, A2 is the good one, right? That's the good one, for which doesn't give you cancer, doesn't give you anything wrong, it doesn't give you allergies. And why? Because A2 is from an indigenous cow. But the foreign cow that has been brought in is A1. And so that A1 milk gives you cancer, gives you herpes, gives you pimples, gives you menstrual problems, gives you everything. Now I want to know, that A1 cow that gives me everything bad, it's indigenous somewhere. It's indigenous in Jersey. So does it give A2 milk in Jersey and A1 milk in India? No, no. But still this myth carries on. So FSSAI has been given over 70 scientific papers. They won't move. Yesterday the gentleman who was here, who gave away the awards, he is an advisor to FSSAI. They have not met him for the last 5 years, because he is the one saying that this is what you're doing is incorrect. So we need to become a force. This is where I need you. Ask for a ban on misleading ads that promote milk as essential for children, when over 90% of all Indians are lactose intolerant. We simply do not have lactase in our bodies. So how does anybody in India digest it? Or anybody in Africa, anybody in China? Nobody except a white can digest milk. But we still push it. Ask the Ministry of Education to introduce food literacy into school curricula, so that children understand where their food comes from and empowered to choose from truth, not propaganda. Aap usko chhodiye. Even in medical colleges, no doctors are taught diet, none. So it's really a question of, where does the money lie? In treatment, it doesn't lie in prevention. So why teach prevention? So we need to push that. Let me say this clearly. The future of veganism is not in guilt, it is in literacy. We must make every child in this country food literate. Let them see a dairy shed. Let them understand how broilers live. Let them learn about antibiotics, water use, land use, and zoonotic diseases. We don't need to moralize. We just need to tell the truth, calmly, clearly, repeatedly. All of you and India's youth will do the rest. We have spent decades hiding suffering from humans. Now it is time to give them the tools to choose differently. And when our efforts are united, our asks become possible. Push for low-cost public vegan options. We often hear that veganism is expensive, but many of our public meals in schools, trains, and flights are already 90% vegan by default. The food served on Indian trains is mostly vegan except for curd. If we switch to plant-based curd or offer it as an option, we instantly create a full vegan government-subsidized meal, as it is, without adding cost. How many people have objected to meat on planes? I know that 5 years, I wrote every day to Air India asking them to remove paneer, saying, what on earth is this rubbish? No vegetarians eat paneer. Even vegetarians don't eat paneer, rarely. And they certainly don't want it on a plane. So now it's not there anymore. But meat is still there. So we can do it on flights, in hostels, in boarding schools, in jails. Write to the IRCTC. Write to your Member of Parliament. Send me the proposals and I will support them personally. System change is not expensive. Sometimes it's a matter of a single substitution. Let me leave you with this. The cow whose calf was taken, the pig in the truck bound for slaughter, the chicken trembling in the dark. They will never know our names, but we will live knowing theirs. And that knowledge that we saw them and changed will be the quietest, deepest legacy of our lives. May we live simply, may we eat kindly, may we consume with care, and may we never forget that happiness is not found in what we have, but in what we refuse to have. Let us build a future where the only thing we overconsume is kindness. Now, I wanted to say just this. If the pursuit of life is the pursuit of happiness, if that is all that we should be looking for, then it will gladden you to know that vegans are happier than meat eaters. This is a survey done in 2021. Vegans have often been portrayed as angry, self-righteous, dysfunctional people who turn every social gathering into a nightmare with their preaching and their picky ways. But a survey of 11,537 people across the United States is doing away with that stereotype. Surveys from Tracking Happiness, which is a well-known NGO, a well-known survey group, found that vegans are in fact happier than meat eaters, putting themselves at 7.27 on a scale from 1 to 10 in terms of personal happiness. Meat eaters, by contrast, have an average happiness rating of 6.80, making a 7% difference, which is a lot. Moreover, happy people are more likely to become vegan in future. That is also that's a statistic, it's not my opinion. The survey found that out of the 8,988 meat eaters surveyed, those who reported higher happiness ratings were more likely to adopt a 100% plant-based diet in future. Such transitions tend to occur early in life because older people are less likely to adopt a vegan diet as they've become accustomed to a certain way of life. Unless, of course, their children push them. How many of your parents have become vegan? Come on. Try harder. Obviously, a clean conscience and a way of life that brings no suffering brings peace of mind. Ditching the meat and dairy may seem daunting to some, but hopefully knowing that it's linked to greater happiness should encourage hesitant individuals to take the plunge. Thank you for giving me time. I have a few other things, which is, these are just pointers that I made on the way down. One is, we have a plant-based association. What's it called? Yeah, whatever the thing is. And it does nothing. It bleats on about soya bean for some strange reason. Soya bean has nothing to do with veganism. You can live without soya bean. So I see no reason why it should concentrate on making soya prices cheaper, soya prices more expensive. We should be doing different things, and you should push them. I've called him to my house in Delhi to tell him that it is nothing to, what we should be doing is, vegan businesses have a big problem in becoming rich. Isn't that true? And many of them give up. Many of them go bankrupt. Many of them start with a good heart and then have a nervous breakdown. So what we should be doing is, we should be encouraging this, whatever this organization is, to get them veganism based on on meat-based alternatives is not going to work in India. That's the sad truth. Now listen, don't clap at this because I'm equally sad. It's because we have 1,000 other options of plants. But if we helped these companies, we helped all of them, the butter ones, the alternative meat ones, they're all first rate. But their market lies abroad. And many of them know how to make the product, but they don't know how to sell it abroad. So if we were to do something, we need to find outlets for them abroad. We need to help each company that we can sell it, whether it's NutraSeals, whatever. Yeah, we need to get them, whether ice creams or anything. So that, I would suggest, should be one of our goals. We also need to look for, you need to talk to each restaurant you go to and say that if the next time I come, you do not have 5 vegan options on the menu, I'm not going to come anymore and I'm going to put you in my social media. Now, one is to do this One is to do this restaurant by restaurant, which will make my hair even whiter than it is. But what you need to do is to look at associations. Restaurant Association of Mumbai, Restaurant Association of Delhi, and actually go in a group and say, every restaurant has to have 5 alternatives. We want that. Whether somebody eats them or they don't eat them, irrelevant. So if you can do that, you should put it down as your thing. Third is what I said earlier, which is go to hostel messes. Now Godrej had made their mess in Vikhroli completely vegan. And none of their staff, which are the same kind of staff that every company has, they didn't object. And they made this vegan, what, we're talking about 30 years ago, when I spoke to one of the Godrejes, who was doing a lot of wildlife work as well. So one is to choose a place of work or mass eating, which belongs to one person, so it's easier to deal with, the principal of a college. And get that made vegetarian to begin with, or vegan if he agrees. Then look for sites, Myntra, Amazon, go on. I don't even have a card, so I've never actually been on a site. Go to all these sites and see what is it that they're selling. The ones that have glue traps, the ones that have pesticides to kill something or the other, the ones that have butterfly catchers, the ones that have fishing rods. Move in, lean into them. I'll tell you a story. I don't know whether it still works. But when one of our film stars said something as harmless as, I feel very uncomfortable in India. My wife says we should go abroad. The government got so angry that they devised a plan that everybody went to the site of which he was ambassador and ordered 5, 6, 10 crores worth of stuff and then returned it. And just kept doing it till the site caved. Think, is there something equally vicious that we can do? Remove glue traps, or remove manjas, Chinese manjas. The number of birds that come to me every day is about 100, whose legs have been cut, whose wings have been cut, and who cannot be put right because everything has been sliced off by a Chinese manja. My team in Delhi, 2 brothers, poor brothers, they do nothing except catch manjas from morning to night. It's in the papers every day. So they catch manja shops. But I'm sure manjas are here as well, or anywhere. And what are they? They're just plastic strings with glass on them. They've killed people as well. So if you can find a site that sells any of these things, for instance, I just got removed from, what's it called? Flipkart. Rabbit blood shampoo. I traced it down to a place in Chennai, outside Chennai, which are getting rabbit blood from a rabbit slaughterhouse and putting it into shampoo quite openly and saying that rabbit blood gives you longer hair. And we guarantee, it's on the thing, we guarantee that 50% of this is blood. Now, you know, I got it off Flipkart. But you can get anything you want off them, provided we work together. Meet your MP and MLA. Meet your MP and MLA. During this election in Delhi, 3 times animal welfare people called the AAP leader, Atishi, who's a very fine person. Very simple, very fine. 3 times we got together as a group, and 3 times she did not turn up. But she went to every Rotary club. She went to every Lions club. It's just our lot that she missed 3 times. Why? Because we do not exert ourselves politically. We have to get to the point where when we call an aspiring person, and you don't have to do this, you know, you don't have to wait till you have 1 million people. One man in Dharamsala called Dheeraj Mahajan, he has nobody, आगे पीछे कोई भी नहीं है, खुद एक tank है. He announced, he called some newspapers and gave them lunch and then just said that please print in your paper tomorrow that anybody standing for the municipal election of Dharamsala, if they do not have a manifesto which includes the doing good for animals, they will not be allowed to stand and nobody will vote for them. The next day after that newspaper, everybody had a manifesto. So if one person धौंस जमा सकता है, तो सोचो हम लोग कितना कर सकते हैं. That yesterday, as we spoke, you met here and spent the whole day here, they pulled down the largest kabutar khana in Bombay, in Dadar. It was horrible, the video, horrible. And today, people will not feed those pigeons, dar ke mare, because they'll have station police. And those pigeons will die. And that's the only bird you ever see in Bombay. So are we going to kill that bird as well? Are we going to create these things about, oh, all pigeons' feces gives you asthma? All bird, including your own feces dries, gives you asthma. So the question is, you want to create a mythology, and then you want to push it to the extinction of that bird. It's so sad that we let them do it. I want all of you to go to Dadar and feed the pigeons. This would be an act of rebellion. Feed them. Now, you need to, so these are the things you need to think about. And as I said, this is a philosophy. It's not a consumer movement, otherwise we're dead on the ground. It's not a philosophy, it's a religion. Think when Jainism was starting, Buddhism was starting. What did they do to make sure that it wasn't an anti-Brahman movement, that it developed wings and flew on its own? And flew on its own, it did successfully. Because they took it seriously. They invented their own gods, they invented their own rituals, they invented their own way of life, and then they pushed through the theme of the religion, which is ahimsa, both of them. This is what our theme is, ahimsa, in every form. Ahimsa positively, ahimsa negatively, to refuse to live and to make other people let live. So this is a religion. You need, as I said, to find a couple of gods and goddesses, to invent a pantheon, to invent, somebody should invent a manifesto, as was done in Islam, and then that was it. Try it.